Let's dive right into this explainer. Have you noticed a massive shift happening right under our noses? For decades, the US has literally been the ultimate magnet for global talent. But looking at the data, that classic American dream is dramatically shifting for international students. We are going to break down exactly why this narrative is fracturing and, honestly, why it matters so much to all of us.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the shrinking American dream, a disastrous job market, navigating legal hurdles, exploring global alternatives, and we'll wrap up with the broader economic consequences.
All right, part 1. The shrinking American dream. For the longest time, the historic expectation was incredibly straightforward. You come here, you earn a degree, get a job, and build a life. It was basically a clear transaction in pursuit of the American dream. Today, though, that path is just fraught with hurdles at every single step. It is honestly no longer a guarantee that a U.S. degree equals a U.S. career.
Moving on to part 2, a disastrous job market. Just think about the sheer volume of highly educated talent entering the system. If we look at projections for 2026 alone, we are expecting international students at American universities to earn 84,000 bachelor's degrees, roughly 306,000 master's degrees, and a whopping 153,000 PhDs. That is an absolute tsunami of specialized talent gearing up to hit the workforce all at the exact same time.
But here's the catch. The opportunities just aren't keeping up. Early career platforms like Handshake are showing significant drops in job postings. There was a 12% decline right before the pandemic between 2019 and 2020. And checking out more recent data, from July 2025 to March 2026, postings are down another 2% from the year prior. So the jobs? They simply aren't there in the numbers they used to be.
And when you break down the demographics, it really highlights a fierce uphill battle. The unemployment rate for recent college grads, so folks between 22 and 27, is sitting at 5.6%. Now compare that to the broader workforce at 4.2%, or all college grads at a remarkably low 3.1%. International students are graduating right into that struggling 5.6% demographic. They're quite literally fighting in one of the toughest entry-level job markets we've seen in years.
The competition is undeniably fierce right now. One international student mentioned that the sheer number of available jobs has shrunk so much, they're basically applying with zero success. And a career coach pointed out something that really hits the nail on the head. The market is so tough that even those second-tier, third-tier jobs now are having first-tier candidates. Highly skilled STEM grads, the exact same people who might have been juggling multiple tech offers just a couple of years ago, are now absolutely thrilled to land just one.
Okay, part 3, navigating legal hurdles. Now, unlike American graduates, international students have this whole other layer of stress, navigating shifting visa policies just to stay legally. Regardless of your politics, the objective reality for these students is that work authorizations are way less predictable now. For instance, under the second Trump administration, some temporary work authorization programs saw big changes, like travel restrictions that paused OPT, or optional practical training, processing for students from affected countries. Plus, the Department of Labor has proposed a new rule to bump up the minimum salaries required for H-1B visas. And these shifting legal sands create a very real crisis. The immediate, real-world result: graduates frequently find themselves unable to actually start jobs after graduation. Think about that. Even if a student somehow lands an offer against all those odds we just talked about, these legal hurdles can completely stall their careers before day one. It's a massive compounding pressure.
Which brings us to part 4, exploring global alternatives.
Faced with all this, while many are still fighting for U.S. opportunities, they're definitely no longer putting all their eggs in one basket. This incredible, top-tier talent pool is actively looking elsewhere: Europe, Southeast Asia, Canada, Australia, or they're just taking their American education right back to their home countries to build their lives there instead. Because that perception of the U.S. as the absolute top of the global hierarchy, it's decaying. There's a quote that really captures this. The United States used to be this golden place, but right now, things have changed. Getting naturalized used to be the default dream, but students are realizing that dream is fading. We're seeing a large populations of Chinese graduates, for example, who historically would have fought tooth and nail to stay, actively planning to just return to Asia after graduating.
Finally, part 5, broader economic consequences.
So, why does this matter to us? Well, look at innovation in this country.
The impact of international students is frankly staggering. A full 25%, literally 1 in 4 of all U.S. startup companies valued at $1 billion or more, were founded by former international students. When they leave, they take that billion-dollar potential right out the door with them.
And the overall economic stakes couldn't be higher. Try $481 billion. Studies show that even just a one-third reduction in foreign STEM graduates staying in the U.S. could trigger an annual GDP loss of up to $481 billion over the next decade. That's not just a statistic, that is a massive hit to jobs and growth that ripples way beyond college campuses and affects everyone.
As we wrap up this explainer, the data paints a crystal clear picture. The pathway from an American university to the American dream is far less certain than it used to be, and it really leaves us with a critical question. When that clear pathway disappears, what happens to this country when the world's top talent decides their future lies somewhere else? If the U.S. stops being the ultimate destination for the brightest minds, who truly pays the price? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack all this data, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.